You're listening to 10 Points, a podcast with your hosts, Ash and Nicholas, where all the talk is Canadian Highlander, our favorite format from the best trading card game ever, Magic the Gathering.
Hey everyone, it's me, Nicholas.
And me, Ash.
Today we're going to do a bit of a year-end wrap-up for 2022, talking about some cards that came out, what decks have been successful, our favorite personal new cards, and we're going to answer some questions that the community submitted the past week.
But first, we need to talk about our best cards from, and today the set we're talking about is Portal Second Age. Nick, this set was a bit tough, but you think you found anything good in there?
Yeah, there were two cards that were good. I have a feeling that you're going to talk about one of them, so I'm going to pick the other because I like this card way more. I'm going to talk about Temporal Manipulation. It's nothing super special. It's one of the 5 mana take an extra turn spells, but I really enjoy taking extra turns. Pretty much there's like 2 decks in the format that this goes in. But you know, it's a lot of fun, and it was included in my 4-color recurring walks decks that I created this year. So
hey, it's topical.
Yeah, so that is why I'm gonna go with Temporal Manipulation.
Similarly, I was looking at 2. There was one other card I was considering, but it's honestly not that good in Highlander anymore, which is Fire Imp. Oh wait, that was actually when I was looking at the wrong Portal set. So never mind, scratch that. But the other card Nicholas was talking about was Sleight of Hand, I would wager.
Yeah. And
that is not the card that I would pick. I think Temporal Manipulation is actually more important in the format than Sleight of Hand.
Really?
Yeah, I think the decks that want Temporal Manipulation need it way more than the decks that want Sleight of Hand.
That is reasonable.
But either way, it's still worth talking about. It's a perfectly reasonable cantrip. I've always felt that I really wanted it to be an instant, but in decks that don't care that much about holding up mana, it's a really efficient way to dig for stuff.
Yeah, goes in Storm. That's pretty much the only deck I really played in. Maybe like High Tide.
Editor's note: my card for Portal's Second Age would be Wildfire. Doesn't show up in a lot of lists, but every time I've played against it, I've been completely blown out. And for that alone, it takes my spot on the list.
Wait.
Hello?
Nick, did you hear that?
I feel like Robert was coming from beyond the monitor and speaking into our minds.
How did you get into this recording session?
No comment.
All right, well...
we're here now, I guess, so welcome.
Yes, everyone, please welcome Cortrat, our wonderful editor, here to join us for the year-end wrap-up. I think
it's great to be here.
Fantastic. So, Wildfire, that is a solid one.
I love that card. I built, a very long time ago, I built a 4-color Super Friends deck, and the entire game plan was play Mana Rocks, play Planeswalkers, then play Wildfire.
Yeah, I've lost to that before.
That's
so much
I was just going to say, Wildfires they see play in 2 archetypes, Prison and Better Prison. And Better Prison is Super Friends is Better Prison.
It's still not that great, though.
Super Friends? I think it's good.
It's not nothing.
I don't know if the Wildfire builds are good. I think
I think it is.
All right, there we go.
But you have to be Wrath of Godding too.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Anyways, we got a lot of stuff to get through, so let's kind of keep this train moving.
Sure.
As Nicholas alluded to, we're going to be talking about some new product that's come out this year, how the format has changed this year, and touch on some community questions. But first, we're gonna I'm just gonna list all the relevant new products that have come out as far as products that have come out with new cards. We had Kamigawa Neon Dynasty back in, I want to say, February. Streets of New Capenna, Commander Legends 2 Baldur's Gate, Dominaria United, Unfinity, the 40k Commander decks, Brothers War, and Jumpstart 2022. So we have a good number of sets that have had cards come out that we care about, in addition to multiple products that have had reprints in them, such as the... I don't even know. I didn't even think that much. I guess Jumpstart 2022 had a bunch of reprints in it. We had Commander Collection Black, and there are a number of reprints in Magic 30 that are going to be playable in Highlander if that is something you get your hands on.
Yeah, I definitely noticed the set has a lot of really good reprints. I was opening up a pack of Brothers War, and I was surprised to find out that Fauna Shaman and Painful Quandary are back in Standard, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, and what's the demonic tutor where you sack a creature?
Oh, Diabolic.
Yeah,
Intent.
Diabolic. Yeah,
It's not $30 anymore.
Yeah,
That's great.
that's a pretty good reprint.
Yeah.
But so we're just gonna kind of briefly talk about all these products and what has come out and that has really been standout in Canlander. So unless anyone else has something specific, I'll go ahead and get us started here.
sure. Yeah, kick us off.
Yeah, go ahead.
So with Kamigawa, obviously one of the most important things that is shown up everywhere is Beseiju, along with the other channel lands. It's just a free run piece of removal that's hard to interact with.
Yeah.
But something I think is my favorite card from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty is actually Shorikai Genesis Engine, which I actually have here on the spreadsheet under New Capenna for some reason. Cannot explain that. I don't know what to tell you.
I was wondering where that was.
Oops. The other card that I really enjoyed out of this new set is March of Otherworldly Light. It's another really efficient piece of removal that can interact with tough to interact with permanents coming from the blue-white control player.
Yeah, like Ash, obviously the channel lands are incredible. The opportunity cost is just so low. If you're not in serious danger of losing to Blood Moon, you should probably just play all of the ones that fit in your colors, just because you can. I think
maybe not if you're 4-color blood.
Well, then you're in danger of losing to Blood Moon.
That's okay. That's valid.
Yeah, so I think probably the cards that I have played the most from this set, Lion Sash has been making it into a lot of my like creature combo decks and creature decks. It's kind of weird because you usually don't want Lion Sash and Scavenging Ooze, and I still haven't decided which one is better. Lion Sash you can use Enlightened Tutor to tutor for, but Scavenging Ooze or Stoneforge. But Scavenging Ooze you can use like Green Sun Zenith to tutor for. I think when it first came out, I shifted hard towards Lion Sash for a while, and I think the more that I've played it, I've kind of steered back towards Scavenging Ooze because I think the life is actually pretty relevant.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff that like shatters that will kill the Lion Sash.
Yeah, and I
Seiju, for example.
I found myself never wanting to reconfigure the Lion Sash, so that line of text never really was relevant.
Yeah, I was just about to ask if that ever came up.
I think it only really comes up if you're like playing a deck with bonus mana like D&T, and you are like looking at a Wrath of God.
Yeah, it can definitely be relevant, but it just usually like
not enough.
You're spending your mana on something else.
Yeah.
And then the next card that I've played the second most is probably the Wandering Emperor. I think this card's really good. I think Ash doesn't like it as much, if I recall correctly, but I think especially in like mid-range decks, and then maybe certain control decks, but definitely in mid-range decks, the Wandering Emperor is just super strong, being able to flash it in on your opponent's end step. Like if they don't think you have a board, you flash it on your opponent's end step, make a 2/2, go to your turn, play another threat, put counters, and then you just like, you've built up an insta board.
Yeah, I think that it is much better in mid-range than control, and I just haven't played it in much mid-range, so that's why I don't love it. But a couple other standout cards from this set are Moonsnare Prototype and Fable of the Mirror Breaker.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Robert is quite a fan of Fable of the Mirror Breaker.
Yeah, every red deck is a fan of Fable of the Mirror Breaker.
It's really nice.
Okay, I guess we should probably keep this train going. Speaking of trains, do you guys think there are trains in the streets of New Capenna, lore-wise?
I bet you an art of a
definitely.
card somewhere there's a train.
I guarantee.
I'm not going to guarantee it because I haven't actually looked, but there probably is a train somewhere.
I would say half the legendary creatures are dressed as train conductors anyway.
That's oh wait no yeah, there's Toulouse. Okay anyway. I think the obvious like super standout card from this set is Ledger Shredder.
Yeah.
Aside from that, what is probably one of the most important things is they finished the Triumph cycle. But yeah, do you guys have any other big cards from this set you really like?
I was gonna say Obnix is pretty solid. Rafine's hilarious. That card alone makes me want to build Esper Flying Men. See if it's still any good. Probably not. Galligrators is pretty big as an ETB target.
Yeah, I think Galligrators is really good on Elves decks too, just because you get to trigger every mode pretty easily. I think Void Rend has also been very good.
Yeah, Vivian on the Hunt has been absolutely massive for pod decks. It is now just another pod that you can use to do the chain. It doesn't work. It only works if you're starting from a 3-drop, but it's still very good, and just all the abilities are really good by themselves. I've been finding that Workshop War Chief makes it into a lot of my decks. I still rate it under Thragtusk, but usually it goes side by side with him.
Yeah, you do play a lot of 5 and 6 drop type of Jund, so you can usually get them both in there.
Oh yeah, wow.
A couple other cards you've seen out of this set see decent amounts of play is Fleetfoot Dancer. Tenacious Underdog has seen a lot of play. Riveteer's Charm has been great, and Professional Facebreaker has shown up in medium red.
I am kind of curious. I've played Obnixilus a few times, and I have never actually felt like it was that good. Like, the best thing I've done with an Obnixilus is dash in a Ragavan, attack, and then play Obnixilus and sack it, and I'm gonna be honest, that did feel really good. But I'm curious. I mean, to be fair, I haven't played it in any of the decks that really want it, but I'm curious if anybody has found it to be really good in just the average mid-range deck or whatever.
No,
couldn't tell you.
I'm not entirely sure if it goes in. If it goes in mid-range or more of an aggressive build?
That's where I would expect it. Is aggressive decks need to be able to beat blue decks.
That's true. So I guess if you're playing a lot of the black creatures that you can bring back and stuff,
such as Tenacious Underdog.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, sacking Bloodghast to this thing seems pretty solid.
I would absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on, we have Commander Legends 2: Battle for Baldur's Gate. This list we don't have very many cards on here. I don't know if that's because there's not that many cards on here, or just because there's nothing that stood out to us too much. But the number one thing that's been the buzz everywhere is the initiative mechanic.
Yeah.
Most notably, White Plume Adventurer sitting here at a crisp 3 mana.
Oh my word. I think, ironically, we have very few cards on this list, and yet this is probably the set that has impacted the format the most, in the sense
to be fair, there is one cell on this spreadsheet that just says other initiative cards.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
So that's 6 cards or something.
I was going to say, between White Plume Adventurer and Seasoned Dungeoneer, the initiative mechanic has impacted not only Canlander, but I think it tops Legacy Weekend. Right? Yeah.
Eternal Weekend got smashed by Mono White.
It's destroying everything. It's kind of, it's honestly reminding me of Companion all over again.
Yes,
it's nuts.
Kind of absurd.
We did in this format get to dodge the Scourge of the Companions,
thankfully,
but unfortunately not initiative.
Yeah.
I see 2 cards on this list that one card that Robert you need to talk about, and one that Nicholas you need to talk about. So let's start in order.
Yeah. All right. So my big card that had come out for Commander Legends Baldur's Gate would be Gut True Soul Zealot. It's just a 3-mana 2/2, but its ability to pump out 4/1s with Menace off of any token you have laying around is incredibly powerful.
Yeah,
and should not be understated.
I want to make a point about it. It says whenever you attack, not whenever Gut attacks. And it says sack a creature, not an attacking creature.
Yeah, but you can totally, I'm attacking with this 1/1 goblin, sack it, make a 4/1. I've definitely had times where it does say, or an artifact. I've definitely played Chromox and printing nothing just to turn it into a 4/1.
Oh,
It's
let's go.
value.
It is a powerful card.
So you're not on Blood Moon, right?
Not anymore.
Actually, it doesn't matter if you do it on Blood Moon. I was just gonna say, do you think it's worth it just to like put a Great Furnace in your deck, just in case? Like, is getting Besage? Well, Besage wouldn't do anything.
No.
It would actually get you a Badlands.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not entirely sure about Great Furnace, although it would be really funny.
it sure would be. Okay, Nick, what's your card from this set?
Alright. Minsk and Boo Timeless Heroes has honestly become one of my favorite Magic cards. Not just because it's good. Don't get me wrong, it's very good. I mean, it's absurd. It goes in pretty much any green or red deck, and if you're playing a deck that's playing either one of those colors, you probably just splash for the other color and throw this in there with red and
definitely.
6.
This also broke Legacy, by the way.
Yeah. But above the fact that this card is just absurd, is the flavor is just dripping. It's a man and his hamster. What better story of power and defeat and victory than Minsk and Boo, a man that takes his hamster, injects it with some steroids, and then just chucks it as his opponent, and it just works.
It just works.
I don't even actually know the lore behind the card, just the mechanics
Oh,
on the card, along with the art and name.
Robert, that was a deep cut, Robert.
Oh yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
All right. Nick is gonna be over there salivating about Minsk and Boo.
Yeah.
While he does that, let's talk about the couple broken cards that came out in Dominaria United. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. Shieldred's broken.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shouldn't exist. Here we are. She's here. She's ruining
Leyline
everyone's
binding.
day.
Broke.
Leyline.
Broke
Okay.
Legacy.
So Leyline Binding has been extremely good in 2-color decks in Highlander due to the prolific nature of the triomes.
There you go.
Especially because in Blue-White Control, I'm already playing a triome and an off-color duel for mystical teachings and prismatic ending, so it was really easy to slide Leyline Binding in the deck, and it's just been extremely efficient. And even more so in other decks, like 4-color Blood can slam that for pretty much just for free.
Oh, I mean, no effort.
Yeah. It's so good. A couple other cards that have made their rounds. I've seen a bunch of people buy Sarah Paragons. I haven't seen any in the format yet. I assume people are playing them. I'm not sure. And then the big one that I see a lot of people playing is Squee Dubious Monarch. That one's just everywhere. I think it might be better than Goblin Rabblemaster.
It's definitely one of the better ones in the this is what, our third Rabblemaster?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the best one out of the bunch, honestly.
I think like the slower clock is made up for by the fact that it gets to hit before it dies. Because like theoretically, Rabblemaster has a faster clock if they don't do anything about it.
Because it pumps
they're
itself.
gonna.
Yeah, I think.
But if it gets to hit once with the pump, then you're doing the same amount of damage in the same amount of turns that Squee does on 2 hits.
Yeah.
I think the only argument for Rabblemaster over Squee is that Squee has to attack to get the goblin. That
Sure,
Rabblemaster doesn't. That being
that
said,
that is a legit argument, but
That is fair.
Most people don't play Rabblemaster not to attack.
yeah, and I think the escape is what really pushes Squee over the top.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Haste plus recursion is big.
It's very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I've found Cut Down is actually pretty decent. I know there's like I think people are pretty split on it. Some people like hate it. I actually think in black decks, it's one of the better removal spells. I mean, it's way below Fatal Push, obviously, but after like paying more attention to board states after it came out, it's very often that it kills a lot of stuff.
I was going to say it kills Murktide regions, and I was like, actually, it only does if it's a very sad Murktide region.
Yeah.
But it kills like Opposition Agent, Aven Mind Sensor,
That's true.
Squee.
Early Goyfs.
Yeah, early Goyfs. It just kills
really early Goyfs.
a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I know a lot of people when this card got spoiled, they were pretty torn on it because it is a very unique targeting requirement. So a lot of people weren't sure how applicable it would be, but it's definitely
It hits.
It works
It's a 1-mana bolt for the elf,
mostly.
Or the bird, rather. A couple other things. We've seen Rundvelt, Hordemaster, as well as the Crime Visionary. Those are the goblins and elves are kind of the only two tribal decks that are consistently successful in the format. And those two were wonderful includes for the respective decks. All right, Robert, I know you want to talk about this next one.
Okay, so this next one is the set Unfinity, which unfortunately got delayed, but we finally have it. Couple cool cards that came out in the set. Saw in Half, which seems ridiculous for any sort of ETB
Played in
effect.
recurring nightmare decks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just like off the top of my head, Inferno Titan or Fury.
Siege Rhino,
Oh, Siege Rhino.
Grave
Yeah.
Titan.
A lot of good hits with Saw in Half.
Thragtusk.
Oh.
So much value.
I'm surprised I haven't seen the card, honestly. But
Honestly, I mean, next time I play a recurring nightmare deck, I'm gonna get one.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I have a copy.
This goes in 4-color recurring walks for sure.
Oh yeah.
Stop
Alright.
talking about that till we get to the how the format's changed section.
God. Clown Car, I think, is a card that's slept on. I think it's hilarious in any sort of deck that can produce lots of mana. Thinking like Academy or something like that. Just the ability to make a bunch of 1/1s and then a cheap crew cost, huge vehicle should not be understated.
We've seen a lot of value of creating a lot of small tokens with a lot of mana in a card from the Saheeli Commander deck. Cost 1 mana. Retrofitter Foundry.
Oh, exactly.
So
the fact that
there's
you
evidence.
Yeah, the fact that you can put like 5 mana into this and then get like 3 1/1s and a 4/4 car is fantastic. Most Dangerous Gamer, I know a lot of mid-range lists and stuff like that I've seen play it. The ability to consistently open attractions and just get natural value from that on top of having effectively a 3/3 Death Toucher seems really good.
Quick spoiler for anyone who's paying attention. Paperlander number 7 has recently been recorded and will be out probably. I don't want to say the time it's going to be out, but in it, we do have someone featuring an attraction deck.
Oh, fantastic!
Yes, and it actually does work at one point.
It was like, yeah.
It's not bad. We also have a local player that's playing a one-off in their elf deck just to trigger an attraction, which is hilarious.
Interesting.
Huh.
I that might be the same person then. I'm never clued in on this.
I will just say there may be an attraction deck in the next Paperlander, and there may be an elves player in the next Paperlander. Who can say
No
if they're the same
connection.
person?
No implicit connection there.
Yeah. The last card, which is more so just for goblins, but it's fantastic, and I heard it's seen some legacy play. It's called Mind Goblin.
No.
Blank Goblin is a honestly really good mana accelerant in goblin decks. The ability to play a 3-drop on turn 2 or 3 and get 4 to 6 mana out of it is really powerful. And the feeling you get after going immediately from Blank Goblin into a Muxus is not to be understated.
I believe that's Delusionary Goblin.
Correct. That would be the sticker for that.
Okay, quick aside on the Mind Goblin thing. I was in Kroger with my girlfriend, and there was an Imagine Dragons song playing, and I just made an offhanded joke about, oh, do you know who sings the song? thinking she had heard the bit before.
Oh no.
She hadn't. So I got her so good, and then she was just like dazed, like the entirety of the walk from the checkout to the car.
Ruined.
And then, I kid you not, my Kroger is right next to a Wendy's. So we drove past the Wendy's, and I got her again. It was amazing.
All right, Ash. Just for that, would you like to talk about Warhammer?
Yeah. So there's a lot of cards that people talked about playing from this new set. Only one that I've really seen and been particularly interested in, but again, there's a lot of playable cards in this set. But the one I care about is Triumph of St. Catherine. If you don't know, hold on. Triumph.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not.
Yeah. So Triumph of St. Catherine is from, I don't remember which deck it's from, but it's a creature for 4 and a white. It's a 5/5 lifelink with Miracle for 2 mana. So it's a
this
creature.
one.
Yeah, it's a 5/5 with lifelink and Miracle. And then when it dies, you exile the top 6 cards of your library into face down pile with it, and shuffle them up and put them back on top. So it goes somewhere randomly in your top 7 when it dies, and then it has Miracle, and is a 5/5 with lifelink.
Oh, that seems super fun.
Yeah. I haven't been able to get my hands on one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Miracle is 1 and a white. I have not been able to get my hands on the card, so I haven't been able to try it out, but there is another local player who plays a lot of blue-white who says that it's been wonderful.
I have really wanted to try this in like either like a creature combo deck or maybe like a little bit more mid-rangey but still toolbox creature deck, just because Worldly Tutoring for this seems real good.
Yeah, there's also been another, like a black-white one with Miracle that looked like it was going to be good in recurring walks, but I don't remember what it's called.
I don't know what it's called either.
You said black white with Miracle?
Yeah, we'll move on to Brothers War if we want to circle back to that.
Cool.
If you find it.
Yeah.
Nick, there are a couple cards from this that you like, right?
Yeah. Defabricate has been a card that has made the Esper Vault lists a little bit better, specifically if you're on the Gifts Ungiven package.
No. That's reconfigure or reconstruct, isn't it?
Oh,
I think so.
What am I thinking? No, never mind.
Defabricate is the annul with Stifle on it.
Oh yeah, I love that card too.
Oh, also, really quick, I know we're not explaining what all these cards do. We don't got time for that.
Yeah, Google them.
Yeah, this episode would be 4 hours long.
Yeah.
Basically, they're all good. Just build a deck and put every single card that we mention in the deck, and it'll win for sure.
Don't do that.
5-color good stuff. Best archetype.
5-color 2022 magic. Actually, hold on. That kind of
Wait
sounds...
a minute.
Why does
just
that sound
everything
playable?
from the past 2 years, just in a big pile.
Oh, gross.
No, Defabricate is really good for a different reason. It also probably still goes in Esper Vault, but more Stifles is just really good.
Versatile Stifles are good.
Fetching in this format is terrifying. Now we have Opposition Agent, Stifle, Defabricate, Nimble Obstructionist, Aven Mind Sensor. You crack a fetch land and you're just 90% sure it's not going to happen.
It's bad.
But I mean, I would say it's probably a good thing. Stifle effects, I think it's nice that players have more, especially if they're playing against a Nicholas.
That's true. I think Stifle... I think it might be interesting to see a Stifle effect that is not interacting with fetch lands. Like, target activated ability on a non-land permanent.
Yeah, I feel like getting stifled off of a strip or a waste or a fetch feels kind of bad. But if you're stifling a Time Vault, I don't feel sorry.
Yeah. That being said, you really want to be able to stifle their wasteland.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fair.
We're getting into philosophy. A couple other cards from the new set that this set's been out very we haven't been able to play with it very much. It hasn't been out very long, so we don't have super deep experiences with these cards yet. But a couple that just seem like they're going to be good. We have Brotherhood's End. It's just another Anger of the Gods. It's a little more versatile. Lay Down Arms is a white mana removal, or a 1 white removal spell. Teferi Temporal Pilgrim makes dogs that get big.
Yeah.
And I want to try that in Blue-Eye Control. Third Path Iconoclast is better Young Pyromancer.
It's really good.
Yep.
And Slagstone Refinery is dumb in eggs. Can confirm I played it.
Yep. I just want the magical Christmas land of playing a Teferi, minusing it, and then casting an Ancestral Recall on the same turn. You just,
Dude, what are you talking about? Just curve Jace the Mind Sculptor into this Teferi.
oh yeah, no, that's even better.
Okay, let's talk about... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say before we go to Jumpstart, I did find that other Miracle card.
Oh, yes, let's hear it.
Yeah, so Sister Repentia is 3 white black for a 5/1 human warrior. Whenever Sister Repentia dies, you may gain 2 life and draw 2 cards. And it has Miracle for white black.
Yeah,
seems
pretty
good.
decent.
Yeah.
Seems like a solid worldly tutor.
Yeah.
Not to mention a fantastic recurring nightmare card.
Yeah, you definitely love to be hitting that with Recurring Nightmare.
You're like, oh no, my creature's a 5/1. It's gonna die to anything it blocks.
Oops.
Oh no.
Yeah. Alright, so
Now,
about Jumpstart.
Yeah, most important thing that happened this year. Jumpstart 2022 came out. As of recording, it came out like a week ago. Listen.
Roughly.
Yeah. Actually, I guess it was longer than... Okay, it doesn't matter. Listen. Just listen to me for a second.
Got it.
They put a cat girl in Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
I'm sold.
Also, the best flavor text in all of Magic's history.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so if you don't know how Jumpstart works, it comes in packs of like archetypes. And each archetype, I think, has exactly 1 anime card in it.
Yes.
They're just reprints with anime art. And most of them are pretty good. Spirit of the Labyrinth has nice new anime art. It's an uncommon. It looks pretty good. Mm-hmm. Balon Wandering, whatever. It's a cat that cares about artifacts from Mirrodin or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Originally from Commander 2017.
Originally from Commander 2017. It doesn't matter. It's a cat girl now. We have an anime cat girl in Magic. I don't know how I feel about this.
Have you seen the
I'm
price
confused.
on it? So
no.
the original print is about $4.50. The Jumpstart 2022 one is going for about $45.
I mean, like,
just art.
Okay, listen. Objectively, it's pretty good art.
Oh, it's really nice. I like
it's very well done quality art. I've never understood the cat girl thing, but I am not here to judge. If that's your cup of tea, good luck finding a Balon. But now, as Nicholas was alluding to, there is a spectral sailor in this set that is in fact an anime girl, and the flavor text, Nicholas, whoever wrote it, would you care to read it aloud?
Permission to haunt aboard a cabin.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I normally like original printing, so I'm probably gonna look for that spectral sailor.
It's just
for sure.
It's amazing.
It's good. It's
perfect.
It's also just like the contrast from the original spectral sailor is like,
yeah.
It's just a little ghost.
I think it's safe to say Magic has peaked.
It's a shame that we'll never have anything.
We'll never reach quite
Permission
this
to haunt
level
aboard.
of amazing flavor text.
Notably, there is also a new goblin from the new set that's probably gonna potentially see play. It gives your stuff haste. It kind of trumpet blasts them when they ETB.
It's not terrible. Well, we'll have to see though.
We'll have to give it a try. It's a legend, which is bad, but we'll probably give it a test.
It gets Caracas real good.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to move on and talk a little bit about what's happened in the format this year as far as what decks have shown up more, what decks have fallen off, what's like how the points have changed, and just kind of that kind of thing. So Nick, you've been talking about it all episode. Tell us about the deck you brewed this year.
Yeah, this year I brewed a deck. It's called 4-color Recurring Walks. Anybody that's listened to the podcast has probably heard me talk about it once or twice. It's also featured on one of the Paperlander episodes, but it's basically a 4-color deck that uses the Spellseeker Time Walk combo, but also other things like Recurring Nightmare, Eternal Witness, and Timeless Witness to try to take infinite turns, but it's also just like a creature toolbox deck that really abuses Recurring Nightmare and using Marin and bringing a bunch of things back, getting a bunch of ETBs that are really relevant, tutoring up for certain creatures. So it's actually felt pretty good. There's been, which we'll talk more about the points changes later, but there has been a recent points change in which Spellseeker has gone to 3. So now the combination of Time Walk and Spellseeker is 10 points. But with that, Birthing Pod went down to 1. So I'm thinking about maybe reworking this deck a little bit. And changing the point spread up to be Time Walk, Pod, and Survival of the Fittest. But we will see how that works out in the new year.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see the deck continue to evolve, and especially, hopefully, we'll get to see other people's iterations on it as well, to see what sort of innovations happen to it. But what do you think about? Are either of you guys thinking of any decks that just haven't really been around anymore, stuff that's fallen off for one reason or another? I know in my experience I've seen less medium red, but I don't think that's because the deck got worse. I think that's because the two people that were really consistently playing it stopped playing it or stopped being in the area.
Yeah, I've kind of noticed there has been less medium red, but also there has been less tie in general.
Yeah.
Ty is our resident medium red player, and he has had to take a break from the format for personal reasons. But additionally, with that, medium red recently got a little bit worse with Mana Crypt going up to 5 points. So it is now a steep include, and yet still as good as ever in medium red.
I'm trying to remember what my full 10... Oh, you cut vault. That's what you do. Either cut vault or cut price of progress, depending on the meta.
I think people are... there's people on both ends of the battle, but I think either way it's still good.
Yeah, I think in our metagame, price is better, but I can definitely see other metagames where vault would be better.
Yeah. I would definitely cut vault for our meta, personally.
Yeah,
it is.
People are so greedy in our meta.
Crazy,
ridiculous.
That the medium red has almost single-handedly driven up the point value of Mana Crypt. When I remember a time long ago when it was 2 points, and it is now over double. It's at 5 points. It's just crazy.
Do you guys want to know what used to be a legal point spread in medium red?
Go ahead.
Soaring, Crypt, Mox, Ruby, Price of Progress, Mana Vault.
Actually, you would have an extra point after that because Price wasn't pointed yet. So that would only be 9 points.
Seems not bad.
Yeah, right? I think a couple things that have shown up more recently is we've seen... Obviously, Nicholas has been playing a lot of recurring walks this year. There have been a lot more blue-white mid-range decks. So, like, I've seen a lot of Esper and some Jeskai running around. I think that Wandering Emperor has had something to do with that.
Oh, for sure.
And I've also seen some more low-to-the-ground decks that are, like, cheap mana costs, but not hyper-aggro. Like, Grant's been playing this red-black... It's not really Aristocrats as much as red-black Sacrifice. So it just kind of gets value out of its stuff dying and or sacrificing it.
You just described
it has a lot of recursive threats. Well, no, it's a little
No,
different.
like
you're not sacrificing different. As much. Yeah, it's different.
Yeah. I've seen a bit more people kind of toying around with like artifact-based combos. Interestingly, I haven't seen as much Paradox Academy recently. I don't know if that's just because no one in our meta really plays it that much, or if it's just kind of fallen off a little bit.
Well, actually, what I think is about the Paradox is I think some people are scared to play it because of Collector Oof.
Yeah.
But we've also seen a lot. I've seen 3 different people, if you count myself, be playing not artifact combo decks, but it's like artifact mid-range decks or fair artifact decks or like Tezzerator decks. And one player who was playing a lot of Paradox shifted to like an Esper mid-range artifacts deck, but recently expressed that attacking with creatures is dumb. I'm going back to Paradox. So
yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
That is the thing about... I mean, I know none of these are 2022 cards, but like that's the thing about playing combo is within recent years, combo has become so much more stressful to play because you're in constant fear of things like Collector Oof and Opposition Agent that you like didn't have to worry about before, and now they're just so backbreaking.
I think a lot of people also might think like, well, why is Opposition Agent such a huge deal when Aven Mindsetzer was already around? And if anyone's thinking that, the main difference is, yeah, they both stop you from tutoring, but one of them leaves your card in your deck at least.
Yeah. If you're tutoring for your combo piece and they play an Opposition Agent, that combo piece is now in exile.
And it's never coming out of exile.
Nope.
What
in the world was that?
It's definitely not an alarm.
I like that was to transition into our next.
I like how my phone went off too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hold on.
Shieldred is also quite good against combo.
Yes. Now I'm trying to think. One other deck that I hadn't seen for a while was Flash Hulk, but over this year the points have changed from Flash Hulk being, actually I guess it was toward the end of last year. Flash and Hulk together used to be 10 points, and now together they are 5 points, which is Flash is 5 points, if that's correct, and Hulk is 0 points. So the deck is, I think that's correct. You have a lot more points to work with, is the point I'm making, and I have seen that deck show up a couple times, just because it gets so many more tools now. And one of the other obvious evolutions is they finally pointed Oracle into the ground.
7.
And in our meta, at least, it's not that Oracle was bad. It's that people were like sick of seeing it, and the people that were playing it were kind of sick of playing it. And the fact that it got pointed so heavily was like, okay, well now I have an excuse not to play it. Because every time someone does roll around with it, they just kind of stomp the tables still. In my experience, anyways. So, I don't know. I'm glad that it's more fair now, but I'm more glad people aren't really playing it.
Yeah, it definitely seemed not fun for all parties involved.
Yeah, we do have a big tournament coming up in our area, so I'm expecting to see some number of people playing it just because it is objectively a powerful deck. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see what that tournament brings.
All right, I don't know if I'm going crazy, but I cannot find the points list. I'm looking at Canadian Highlander points list, and the old points list comes up, and then after that, it's just like I don't.
Okay, hold on. You guys entertain while I look it up really quick.
Flash is 5.
Did you find it, Robert?
Yeah.
It's just CanadianHighlander.ca.
Yeah, but usually if you look up Canadian Highlander points list, it's like the second thing to come up. Which also, if anybody that has access to the old website with the old points list is listening, please find a way to disable it.
Yeah, they said they don't have access. It's weird. I don't know what's going on. Listen, anyone who is wanting to get into Canadian Highlander, and this is the first thing you're listening to, first off, welcome. Second off, there are 2 points lists online. One is old and outdated. Don't look at it. That one is on WordPress. The one you want to look at is at CanadianHighlander.ca.
Yeah, that's probably a important note. Also, for deck building websites, Moxfield is amazing.
It tracks points.
It'll automatically track your points, tell you if you're over, which cards are how many points. It's super handy.
Honestly,
I believe
the fact that our format has gotten to the point that a website decided to include the ability to track points is great.
Oh,
I mean,
it's big.
Yeah, just so you know, Nick, Tapped Out has been doing that for a long time. They just don't keep up with it very well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they're still out. I think the points list that they're using is still outdated. But I'm not entirely sure.
I'm not sure. But I mean, you know what? Points for effort, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyways, we have... Does anyone have anything else to talk about? Points changes? Oh, actually, GTA went back to 2 points finally.
Yeah, there were a few other... Yeah, GTA went down to 1 and then promptly back up to 2 all within this year.
Yeah, it was at 1 for too many months, though.
Yeah. Pod went down to 1, which I am super thrilled about.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Yeah, Pod going down to 1's crazy. The fact that Hulk got unpointed seems kind of exciting.
Yeah, I'm kind of... Honestly, I didn't even really realize that it became completely unpointed until over the past weekend when someone mentioned it, and I was like, oh, I thought it just went down to like 1 or 2, and they're like, no, it's not pointed. And now I want to start trying to brew and see what can be done with Hulk now that it's not pointed.
Nicholas is going to single-handedly get it back on the pointed list.
Yeah.
If you manage to do that, Nick, I don't really care.
Congrats, I guess.
Yeah, good job.
All right, I now have something to work towards. Getting
you're gonna have to start. You're gonna have to start taking down async leagues on the official Canadian Highlander server.
Yeah. If our 2023 end of review isn't congratulating you on pointing. All right.
Let's get to some community questions.
Absolutlet's
see. We have these on Discord, I believe. If you want to have questions answered on the podcast, not just on year-end reviews, but just in general, we have a channel in our 10 Points Podcast Discord where you could ask these kinds of questions, and we'll answer them on the podcast. First question is from Nicholas, so I'm skipping it. It says, why does humility exist? And the answer to that is because they printed it.
Whoops.
Why are we whoopsing? Card's awesome.
No.
Okay. Where's the first real question? Okay. This question comes to us from Prop. They ask, what is the deck you have not played / tested that you really want to give a shot in 2023? For me, a deck that I've thought about for quite a while is Soldier Tribal. And there's been a lot of stuff in the last couple sets for Soldier Tribal, so that might be a deck I want to try out. Additionally, some kind of Pyromancer deck, not necessarily Mardu, probably Jeskai featuring a Black Splash. But that's me. What about you guys?
Alright, so this was my first year playing Canadian Highlander. I'd done a lot of Commander prior, so this was like my first delve into a more competitive format. And so, Goblin seemed super approachable to me. It's classic mono red aggro. However, what I've noticed with these Recruiter stacks and Snoop combo is I really like creature-based combo. And so, and I was going to say, Nicholas, you'd be pretty happy to hear this. I'm expecting in 2023 to try and build some sort of creature combo, whether that's Pattern Director or 4-color Key Pod. I think those sort of decks just seem really interesting to me, and I'd be willing to give them a shot.
You're not going to iterate on 4-color Recurring Walks?
No.
Joking aside, I do think that deck is kind of a level up from, like, you have to really understand the concepts of creature combo, because that deck is like all those concepts taken to their extreme.
Oh yeah, it's
at least
really
that's my
sweet
perspective.
brew.
Yeah, it's definitely there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more moving pieces than there are in 4-color Kiki Pod.
I would recommend giving Kiki Pod a shot. It's a great deck.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll have to borrow one of Nick's lists.
Yeah, I've got several of them.
It's crazy to me how, like, every time Nicholas builds a deck and shows me his list, I'm like, this is like 15 cards different than I would build it. And then he goes like 5-0, and I'm like, okay. Well.
Speaking of Nicholas, what's your answer to this one?
Yeah, like I said, I wanna try to brew more with Hulk. I think that there's definitely, honestly, I might include a package in 4-color recurring walks. That might be a little bit stretching the deck a little too thin, but I think that there is going to be a home for it now that it's 0 points that will be found to be pretty good. Additionally, I have played eggs before, but it was quite a while ago, and the deck has changed a lot since I played it. So I want to get all the new cards for eggs and give that another shot.
Eggs is great. Can confirm. I've played it very recently. Deck is awesome. I attacked with a 9/9 Lions Eye Diamond. I can't get over that.
Eggs definitely seems like my kind of deck as well.
Dude, I'll build it for you sometime if you're out. Sometime you're out at the store. We'll do a swap. It's it's so fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
do you want us to answer your question, Robert, or do you want us to skip it?
Oh, I'm trying to. Yeah, no, that one works.
Okay.
You can pick whichever one of those.
Sure. All right. Is there a land cycle you hope gets reprinted or finished? I really want the Battle for Zendikar lands to get reprinted. If you have 2 basics, you get to have them fetch untapped.
I've seen them a lot in the pre-cons, actually.
Well, I need I want the set
enemy
finished.
color ones.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like I need there to be a blue-green one and a red-white one. Most importantly, a red-blue one. But those really need to be finished already.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of land cycles that we've only seen the ally colors for.
Yes.
The Odyssey Signet lands, we haven't gotten new ones for those.
Those are fine.
They still need to finish the Canopy lands.
Yeah, Canopy lands would be huge.
Also, the other bicycle lands, less important now that Triumphs are around, but I'm not going to say irrelevant.
No, yeah, I would definitely want like a black-green bicycle land.
Yeah. Cycling for 2 is way better than for 3.
Yeah, it's definitely an important bit.
Yeah. Nick, do you have a land cycle you want finished?
I said the Canopy lands.
Oh, Canopy lands, right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
This next question comes from C Bond. You guys might know who that is. He asks, how do you feel you've improved as players this year, and how do you want to improve over the next year? Nick?
I think I don't know. I think, honestly, the podcast has maybe helped me a little bit, even, like, thinking through some of the reasons that I do some things. I think building or brewing 4-color walks has been good for my, like, me thinking how a deck should work mechanically and how all of the moving pieces need to fit together in order to make it actually viable, as opposed to just a pile of cards that can work sometimes. But I don't know if I've really improved that much. And over the next year, I mean, of course, there's always room for improvement. I would like to keep playing Magic and keep slowly getting better.
Yeah, I think my answer, I kind of have 2 answers. The first is I do think the 10 points has helped me improve, both in, similar to what you said, just kind of thinking through things a little more intentionally. I think playing on camera on our Paperlanders has helped me just saying out loud what I'm doing and sometimes why I'm doing it can like help me sometimes try and break away from just like the basic play patterns.
Oh, just autopiloting?
Yeah, I think, I mean, not always, of course. Sometimes you're not verbalizing everything on Paperlander, but I think that's helped a little bit. And just the podcast is talking about what different decks do and hearing Nicholas's opinions more than I do just in our normal day-to-day talking about Highlander. And having our guests on to have them explain why they make decisions with their own decks. I think it's helped me understand the format and parts of the format I don't play a little better. Like, I think I know how to play against Chad better after he came on and explained in explicit detail why his deck is built the way it is. So I think those are some things that definitely helped. In the next year, I think one thing I really want to get better at is like looking at what my opponent probably has or could have in playing around that type of thing. Just kind of getting better at playing against my opponent and their deck, not just the cards that I can see, but the cards I can't.
Like if they're holding up mana, what it could represent, etc.
Yeah, and like even if they don't have mana up, like what do I lose to? Like being able to think about what you lose to and play to beat that instead of just like waiting till they do something. Which I think I don't think I'm bad at that necessarily. I think I've played enough Control in the format to generally know what people are looking for and how stuff works, but being able to just have a more comfortable mental image of what they could have and what they might do and what their goals are in the game.
For sure.
So, yeah. What about you, Robert? You said this was your first year playing Highlander, so I suppose your improvement has been awesome.
Oh, yeah. No. Again, first competitive format, really. I've definitely noticed I've gotten out of a lot of tricky situations. I've had a lot more intricate, weird plays that just kind of work. So I've definitely been forced to think out every avenue, play out till I either win or lose, etc., etc. And I've definitely noticed over the months of me playing, I've sort of learned which matchups work, which ones don't, what my strategy needs to be for each matchup, etc.
Yeah, I noticed you recently, just the other day, we're talking on the Discord about your matchups versus medium or versus 4-color blood is so different than your matchup against arbitrary other deck, and you have a very specific game plan going into your game 1 mulligan plan.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely with playing against stuff like 4-color blood and just like decks that goblins cannot punch through. You sort of have to tutor to like your like turn 3 recruiter stack, like and just combo out.
You think that kind of thing just comes from knowing your deck really well?
Oh, I mean, certainly, but it definitely helps. Game 1, game 2 to know, okay, this is the avenue I have to approach this matchup. And I do think the 10 Points podcast has largely helped because I have gotten very in-depth looks into certain archetypes. Not by choice. I'm forced to listen to every episode. Kind of part of the job. But I think it's been a great tool in growing both as a competitive player, but also as a Magic player in general. What I would really like to see is next year, again, like I said, I wanted to play Kiki Pod, but also just I want to play a larger variety of decks in general. I feel like piloting those decks will help whenever I come across them on the other side of the table. And so, from a first-hand perspective, I would know how this deck functions, what I lose to, the avenue I have to take to win, etc., etc.
Yeah, it's definitely easier to see the cracks in your foundation if you're standing on it.
Yeah, for sure. All right,
that was very
next
profound,
question.
Ash.
Yeah, wow.
That wasn't... No, that was like a
nice
quote,
proverb.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, listen.
All right. The next question is from Yeti. Have your opinions on the tier list changed dramatically at all?
Point Oko.
That has nothing to do with the tier list, but I think he's referring to the tier list that we created on the show.
Oh, goodness.
Earlier
Okay.
this year. I mean, that being said, Point Oko anyway.
All right, let me look at this tier list and let me see if my thoughts have changed.
All right. While Ash is looking for the tier list, if you had to point Oko, what would you put it at?
1.
1, yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that it doesn't need to be like a ton of points. It just shouldn't be a free roll.
Yeah, Oko to 11, I think.
Just
I think that, well, we have the tier list. It's not like each tier itself isn't ordered. I think red deck wins might go down a little bit. I think stuff is like more stuff has come out that just kind of beats it by itself. Like Shieldred just kind of beats it.
Yeah.
Kalidas just kind of beats it.
That's not new, but
well, I just mean more stuff is getting played more consistently that just beats it.
Yeah.
Also, new cards have come out. And it hasn't gotten as many tools as it needed, but Medium Red kind of
Workshop
can break through that stuff better. Yeah, Workshop Warchief. I think Paradox might have gotten a little bit better, actually, with some new artifacts that have come out.
I've definitely seen more of the deck.
Yeah. I think Sorensen... that's probably not changed very much.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Jeskai midrange is better than B tier. I think it's been better than B tier. I don't know why we put it there, but I think it would be an
I'm pretty sure we argued over this because I wanted it to be A tier, and now I'm gonna have to go back and find out.
Yeah, that's possible. If so, I apologize. I don't know why I would have put it in B, but I don't know if I think that happened because I feel like Jeskai midrange is definitely better than that.
I think Eggs is A tier.
I think Tin Fins is not B tier. I think
there's a lot of incidental hate for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shame. I think the deck's super cool.
Esper midrange is probably A tier now. Hard to say for sure without like just seeing some of the stuff though.
Yeah. I think for the most part it's pretty close. Everything's within like a tier or so where it should be. Which I guess when there's only 5 tiers, the tier can be a lot, but
I could definitely see us reevaluate, like redoing this list, like maybe on a mini episode or a full episode or like a YouTube video and like next
or like
year.
a Patreon exclusive,
or maybe a Patreon exclusive.
Shameless plug.
Look in the description below.
All right, another change I would make: Walk Pod. When we made this tier list, we were initially talking about the old deck Sultai Walk Pod that used to exist. And that's why I put it in C tier. Fun fact, this episode is actually what spurred my inspiration for creating 4-color recurring walks. So I think Walk Pod is now at least B tier.
I would probably agree with that. Deck is pretty good. It's a little bit more like it has a moderately fragile mana base. Well, it kind of depends on your dork count.
It's very high.
Okay, then it's probably like an okay mana base.
I mean, it's the same mana base as any other 4-color deck. You lose to
Price
of Progress and Blood Moon.
Right, but it doesn't go as fast as some of the other 4-color decks. Like 4-color pod, like regular pod can probably kill faster than recurring walks.
Yeah, probably.
Same with 4-color blood if you're in the more aggressive build.
That being said, it might kill faster on a turn basis, but because in Walk Pod you're playing like time walks and stuff, you kind of get to double up on turns every once in a while.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Explore.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, we have another question, this time from Rubber Duck Sauce, asking favorite card of 2020 / card you wish you could play in 2020, but it's been power crapped.
You said 2020 twice. It says 2022.
Sorry. Yeah, my bad. I think my favorite card from 2022 is probably Leyline Binding.
Yeah.
That or Shorikai. It might be one of those two. Either Shorikai or Leyline Binding. Yes, I know they're both blue-white control cards. Fight me. What are your guys' favorite cards of this year?
Honest, and I mean it's not in any archetype that I play currently. I think Cyberdrive Awakener is just kind of hilarious. I think being able to pay 6 mana and then smack someone with a bunch of 4/4 mana rocks seems like a really good finisher if you can't find your combo pieces.
Egg.
Yeah, you just hit them with a Signet and it's great.
Eggs doesn't play Signets.
Oh, what deck plays Signets? I could have sworn.
Not really. Like I think one time I played like 2 Talismans.
Yeah.
And then Paradox plays Signets.
Yeah, Paradox plays.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, Paradox. Honestly, I'd played Cyberdrive in that too. Just if you can't find your combo piece, just Paradox this in and smack them.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. What about you, Nicholas?
Mine, as I said earlier, is Minsk and Boo Timeless Heroes.
That makes
quickly
sense.
Followed by Vivian on the Hunt, because Actually, honestly, both of these cards have made Pod even better than they already were, but Vivian on the Hunt is a little bit more essential to the deck now, maybe.
Okay, next question from Rubber Duck Sauce is card that you wish you could play in 2022, but it's been power crept. I think I have an answer for this.
I also have an answer for this.
I think I have a good one.
There's a non-zero chance, Nick, that you and I have the same answer to this.
I highly doubt it.
Okay, well, my card it's from an archetype I don't play that much anymore, but I used to play a lot. That archetype is Cradlehoof, and the card is
Gaia's Cradle.
No, yeah, man, Cradle. It's
not good anymore.
It's just not as good as Artifacts. I don't know what to tell you. It's I cannot remember the name of this card now. It's 1 red green. It's from like Gatecrash. It's a Planeswalker. Domri Raid. See, Domri Raid just doesn't cut it in 2022 Magic. But I loved that card. I thought it was so cool.
I agree, and that would be my card, but I feel like that got power crept even longer ago than this year.
Well, it doesn't say it had to be power crept this year.
Sure, that's true. Mine is actually very similar. I'm surprised at how similar ours were. Mine, Domri Raid used to go in Pod, and this is another card that I would always play in Pod, was...
Oh, I know what it is.
Do you want to guess?
Is it FTK?
It is not. Ooh, that's a good one, too. But no, this is Garruk Relentless. Garruk used to be, like, literally my favorite Planeswalker. I played it in all my green midrange decks. I played it in Pod. But it's not good enough anymore. The 4-drop slot is so competitive in those decks, and there's just better stuff.
It would have to be like 3 and a Phyrexian green at this point for it to be playable.
Yeah, the Pod decks used to be on Domri Raid, Garruk Relentless, and Xenagos. Is it Xenagos the Reveler? The 4-mana Planeswalker?
That sounds right.
Yeah. It used to be on like all 3 of those, and those were like staples of the deck, and now none of those, you don't see those in any lists anymore. There's just Oko, Teferi, Minskin Boo, Vivian on the Hunt, Vivian, the other one. It's just, there's better stuff.
Alright.
Flametongue Kabu, honorable mention though. I used to love that card as well.
All right, we're running out of time here. So, Robert, what is your card you wish you could play in 22 Magic, but you can't?
So I played it in 2022 when I was trying out Abzan. It never really felt like it got there, but I still feel, just because it's a pet card of mine, if you could fit it in the right shell, it would work. And it's a card called Mystic Enforcer.
Mystic Enforcer.
2 green-white for a 3/3 human nomad mystic with pro black. And it has Threshold, where as long as 7 or more cards in your graveyard, it gets +3/+3 in flying.
Right.
I think a 6/6 flying with pro, like, the biggest single target removal color seems really good. It's just in, like, general Abzan, I wasn't able to activate Threshold enough for it to count. Also, the art is sick, if you haven't seen it.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. The thing is, you're just using your graveyard so much in this format that consistently having 7 cards is difficult. And then even when you do have 7 cards, then you're looking at this, like, Gurmag Angler in your hand or Tasigur in your hand, and you're like, now I have to decide if I want to delve away my graveyard and lose Threshold, or...
Yeah. And the cards that and the decks that would fuel your graveyard, such as, Dredge and stuff, I don't know if they want to splash white for a 6/6 flyer.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool card, but I don't think it works well enough to be included in decks.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Last question we have here, also from C-Bond. How do you feel about the podcast has been this year, and what are your goals for it in the coming year? I'm actually pretty happy. I think that we've done a much better job of keeping up consistency this year than in the past when we were trying to get started. We've had a lot of support from the community and some people on Patreon. It's been quite great. I think also I've really enjoyed producing Paperlander, and I'm sure you guys have enjoyed being part of it too. So I'm pretty happy with what we've done, and I think in the future, our main goal is to keep it up. Basically, keep putting out the podcast, putting out more Paperlanders. We may look to do some other types of content on the YouTube channel. Me and Nick have talked a little bit about that, but we're just gonna have to kind of take it one day at a time, see what people are interested in doing, see what works out. But gonna keep up at the very least, keep up the content.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I agree. For this year, I mean, I feel like we were kind of finding our legs there for a little bit, but I think it's actually going pretty well now. We're pretty consistent, and I always enjoy listening to the episodes even after we've recorded them, and just listening to them after and seeing what we had to say. I think for the coming year, the goal, I mean, we would love to increase the quality, maybe looking into getting a better camera if we can get our YouTube channel monetized, and get better camera, better microphones, better lighting for Paperlander specifically, and better microphones for recording, and hopefully increase the quality.
Yeah. So I feel like this podcast has definitely taken off this year. I may be biased because I started editing this year, but I would definitely say production's ramped up. I think when I started, there were only 3 or 4 episodes, and now
I think you started with number 5.
Yeah, and now we're at 17, which feels crazy.
Yeah, that's whack.
It's insane.
18 by the time this is out.
Oh, yeah, most likely.
No, mathematically.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I keep thinking this is episode 17.
Oh, okay. Wait, is it? Hold on.
No,
I could have sworn it was
17.
17.
This is 18.
Is it 18?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Medium Blue was episode 17.
Yeah, editor, cut that part out. But I would say that this podcast has grown. It's super cool to see all of these really nice listeners in the 10 Points Discord. The amount of them that aren't just local players who came in is astonishing. I know people had given us pretty high remarks in the official Canlander Facebook group. We've definitely come a long way this year, and definitely better cameras, better equipment. I think, I don't know about more frequent content. I think the bi-weekly sort of format is pretty good right now. But yeah, I think just being more consistent, putting out stuff, and really reaching out some feelers, and just getting our name out there would be super big. But I think we've really come a long way.
Yeah, at the risk of sounding like this, the biggest thing in the way of more consistent content is the fact that we also have to have full-time jobs.
Yeah, that tends to get in the way of things.
So, we're gonna keep doing what we can, but the growth has been thanks to you guys, really. So, train.
Oh my!
It's the hype train.
Yeah.
Hello, train.
Full steam ahead for the podcast.
Woo woo.
Woo woo.
But we'll circle back to this here in just one second. But I think we need to do our very, very, very brief overview of what we played recently. If I recall, recently we were all at a weekly, and all 3 of us went 3-1.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I actually can't remember what I was playing. I imagine it was Blue White.
Write it down.
I thought
you told us to write it down.
It was Blue
No,
White.
I thought I wrote it down. I've been skimming through my deck looking for it, and I can't find it anywhere.
No, what happened is right before you left, you said you were going to Marco Polo me and tell me what happened so that you could remember it and listen to it again, and then you didn't do that.
No, I remember that I played Blue White because I was against a buddy who was playing 4-color Blood. This was at table 1 after our match, so I had lost this match. I was 3-0, went into round 4 and lost, but we played a couple extra games, and he took a lot of damage off his lands, and his Tenacious Underdog got himself to like 2, and he drew his card, played a land, so he had no cards in hand, and was went to activate his Castle Lochthwain, and in response, I Mystical Teaching for Ancestral Recall, and Ancestral Recalled him, and then he took 4 damage to his Lochthwain and died. But it was awesome, yeah. So I played blue-white, went 3-1. I guess you guys can go. A little shorter and sweeter than usual.
Yeah.
Do we,
Nicholas,
do we just all want to talk about the match that we lost out of the 3-1?
Yeah.
I just picked it off with that. And my match that I lost, I'm going to be honest, this is
What were
probably
you playing?
the most tilted I've been. What?
What were you playing?
Oh, I was playing 4-color Kiki Pod, actually. I was trying out the new point spread with Pod being 1. And this was probably the most tilted I've been in a little bit. I had to, after the match, get up and walk away for 5 minutes, and then I came back and we jammed some more games, and it was all good. But yeah, I had to cool down from this one. Match 1, I was against Rakdos Aggro. I was at 12, and all he had was like a 2-1 on the battlefield and a couple cards in hand, and he had a Bomat Courier with 2 cards underneath it. And I had a Knight of Autumn on the battlefield, and I, on my turn, tap out for a Luminous Broodmoth. And the thing that's slightly frustrating is I had an Ephemerate in hand, and I thought I was like, oh, should I keep this up for the Knight of Autumn to flink it and gain 4 more life? And I was like, oh, no, I don't need to yet. He doesn't have anything really going on. And then he goes, end of turn, Price of Progress, which does 6 to me. Then on his turn, he untaps, and then he plays the 2-mana burn spell that does 4 damage to each player. So that put me down to 2. Flame Rift. And then he attacks with his Bomat Courier, exiles a 3rd card, pays the red to exile the or to sacrifice the Bomat Courier and get the 3 cards back that were underneath it. And he looks down, and he's like, Lightning Bolt for the last 2. And I was like, yeah, you got it. And at that point, it wasn't that too big of a deal or whatever. I'm like, all right, we still got game 2. So I go into game 2, and I have an explosive start. I'm like, I'm not losing this game. I go like turn 1 Mana Dork into turn 2 Mana Dork Coiling Oracle into turn 3 Teferi, bounce his Season Pyromancer. He has nothing on the battlefield. I'm like, oh, I'm cruising this game. This is going to be easy. On his turn, he tanks for like 2.5 minutes. And I'm like, oh, he's in a hard position. He doesn't know what he's going to do. He's just like, evoke Fury, kill Teferi, Mana Dork, Cooling Oracle, Mana Dork. I'm like, okay, there goes my entire board. And then he just plays a Rampaging Ferocidon, which is one of the worst cards that I can see in that match. And then I proceed to never draw another land, being stuck on 3 lands for the rest of the game. Or maybe it was only 2 lands. And I was like, well, that's the way the cookie crumbles. And I died in staggeringly stylish fashion.
Yikes. All right, Robert, what match did you lose?
All right, I was on Goblins.
Black Green? Or Black Red, I mean?
Yeah.
Black Green Goblins.
Yeah. No,
Goblins.
Rakdos Goblins. So the one match that I ended up losing ended up being 4-color Blood, the very same. I think this was like my first match in a long time where I kind of just felt helpless to do anything. 2 out of the 3 games he had Thalia and Caracas, which feels really bad. I think game 1 I had just sat on Price of Progress and Goblin Grenade, just waiting for him to go over in land count, because he was floating around like 10 or 11 life. But I have a feeling he was playing around it, and I never quite got there. Eked out a win on game 2. Game 3, I had an opening hand with 3 lands and Vamp, which immediately I snap keep. Because if I can combo on turn 3 and just steal a win and go 4-0, that's fantastic. I'd love to do that. He hand attacked me turn 1, and I never really got there, which was definitely a big shame.
One of the saddest things is losing to Athasis.
Yeah. I will say, though, this matchup, I was able to borrow someone at the store's Mox Ruby, And so this was my first time playing with a Moxen that wasn't a Chromox, of course. And I did not realize how insane the acceleration is. I didn't think it would make that much of a difference. Well, because I was cutting Crypt for it, and I'm like, well, this is one less mana. Oh my god.
It helps you raise, that's for sure.
It is powerful. Yeah. It's great. I'm probably going to have to save up for a collector's ed version now.
Yeah.
Hey.
All right, well...
30th edition, which we kind of forgot to mention, is kind of a big thing that happened this year, and you might be able to get a box out of that.
It
we
will
mentioned
probably
it.
be more expensive than collector's ed.
Who knows? All right, well, thank you, Robert, for guesting with us today.
Absolutely, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Nicholas, for sharing all of your profound thoughts. And thank you, viewers. We've had a great year. I say viewers, listeners.
Yeah.
Fans? Dare I say?
I wouldn't go that far. Maybe...
Thank you all. We've had a great year working on this, and we plan to have many more. So stick around, and we'll see you next year.
See you next year. Thanks.
Bye.
See ya. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the 10 Points Podcast, and don't forget to count your points.